All right, today we're here with Zarif Haque, founder and CEO of Draiver, and Federico Ranero, COO of Kavak.
This is Amplify, a retail automotive podcast brought to you by Reuters Events and ASOTU. It's time to make the most innovative voices in retail automotive louder.
Gentlemen, thanks for joining us today.
Man, our first two-guest podcast.
Four-person podcast.
Whoa.
How are we going to get all this in?
Y'all better talk fast. Yeah. And then everybody's going to put it on 1.75 speed when they're listening and be like, it'll be great.
You know, fortunately, speaking slowly is not one of my virtues, so I'm going to speak very fast. Don't put it at 1.5.
Okay, yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how we do. Zarif, we have just met, but a little bit of familiarity with the company Draiver. Why don't you just give us a quick little background? You're the founder, so you had the idea and you implemented, and here we are. You made it to the Amplify podcast.
All right.
Check that out.
Well, thank you for having us. Draiver is a platform to move vehicles as fast as anyone in the world, to be very honest. We're in 9 countries. We're moving over 6,000 units per day, getting close to over 2 million units per year. And it's been an exciting venture for us. Car movement has always been something that's been really not sexy. It's kind of the plumbing of the industry, to be honest. But you know what? You have to have the cars in the right place at the right time to be able to make money. And we do it very well. And we do it very quickly. And we've had the opportunity to expand into Mexico, partner with Kavak as well. Learned a lot with them too. And so it's been a pretty awesome journey.
So let's talk about Kavak for a second. When we were teeing up, I hear this is the first unicorn in Mexico.
Yeah, that's right. We started in 2016 in Mexico. Today, we're present in 10 countries, 27 cities. We're the largest used car market platform in developing markets. We actually like markets where there's tons of frictions, right? From information asymmetries to bigger issues like fraud and safety, financing constraints, and we're looking to solve all that for the customer.
You say you like markets like that.
Yeah, because
Just
we're
up for
actually
a challenge.
Yeah, we like the challenge. We like changing people's lives. As our mission says, we want to empower people to drive further, and we understand the asset as one that could actually change your life from a mobility perspective, from a financial perspective, and we're looking to solve all that for our customers.
Oh, this guy, he done it just now. I'm sorry over here, Zarif.
Hey, it's all
have
good.
A conversation right now.
You
just a
have
second.
to.
Well, here's first of all, aligned mission, aligned vision. I love that. And this is something that I think in especially U.S. markets, we don't go back and remember the change that happened. Like, we just think about selling, servicing, getting cars in the right place, moving fast, and owning a vehicle is just a rite of passage into adulthood. But what you're saying is in these developing markets, in these places, getting vehicles to someone is like literally an opportunity for life change.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that's not all different in an American context either.
No.
It's just we don't associate it anymore. But it's like, yeah, if you don't have a car, can't get to work. If you don't have a car, like, all of these opportunities open up. And I love that, like, a marketplace and an availability for vehicles is bringing that to the consumer side.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. Actually, to give some perspective of how I figured this was a big problem and an opportunity as well in the way you mentioned it is, in my previous life, I was general manager of Uber in Mexico. It was the third largest market worldwide, but I could summarize that my number one business constraint was vehicle access. So we had tons of demand, tons of supply of drivers, but not of vehicles. So meaning a lot of people wanted to self-employ themselves, but they couldn't because there were so many prohibitive barriers in the way that didn't allow them to get this work tool. So, I became really obsessed with that problem. I decided to come and solve it with Kavak and in the 10 markets where we operate, from Mexico, Brazil to Turkey and the Middle East.
Wow.
I mean, we honestly take it for granted here.
Right.
Credit's readily available. Car dealerships are everywhere. And we can actually trust who we buy from.
Right.
That's a luxury in many other countries.
Yeah.
That's where, I think when I was speaking to Kavak, that's the first few things, that really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
They're doing it well.
That's amazing. So, and the, like you said, the plumbing to that, you just said, like, just access to vehicles. And so there's plumbing to that, to just moving vehicles around, getting those in the right places, making sure that people can have access to that. We take for granted, like, a really competent highway system, right? I'm sure that's something that you said you're in, 6 countries, right? And then 9, and then Kavak is in 10.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that one piece alone, I can't imagine in some countries that are less developed than the U.S. is probably a challenge that you've had to meet.
Yeah, and I mean, it's even wilder. When we started piloting with Kavak, we started learning about security issues, things that we never think about, like a car being pulled over while a driver's moving it, and then they're taking off the wheels and switching
We've seen
them
it
out
all.
for cheaper
We've
ones.
seen it all.
I mean, you could go
stories
on
on
and
this.
on about this stuff, and it's just like, you know what? But we have something that it's not going to be bulletproof, right? It's not the silver bullet, maybe, but we can get you really darn close to making sure that your assets will be safe and they'll get to where they need to be.
So how are you taking some of those learnings, because you are in multiple countries at this point? How are you taking learnings across borders and going, oh, we had to solve for this here? Maybe give an example of, like, because we had to solve it over here, it also gave another country or another company or another organization the ability to do the same thing, and that was good for their end goal.
I mean, for us, it was, it's a relatively universal problem, but there's like little nuances that we learn about, like what I just told you. But it has been really easy with our partnership with Kavak, because they've kind of been the trailblazer, and they've also been our primary customer in going into all these, new areas. And so we have a partner that we can rely on, that we can trust, and that we can learn from while we do it. But, honestly, it's a very universal problem, and our technology was built in a way to be universal everywhere, and they were able to prove it.
Let's talk about the nature of the partnership. The best partnerships, everybody learns from the other person. So I'm going to ask each of you, what are some of the things that you've learned since you've embarked on the partnership and started to integrate your systems and do business together?
I can start. Actually, I learned that human nature pushes you to be so arrogant to think that you can solve these things on your own. That the reality was, and I thought I knew a thing or two about tech and logistics coming from Uber, is that moving vehicles is something else, man. When you have to move your mode of transportation, then you need a totally different logic to move the drivers in a different sequencing and orchestration than you do the vehicle themselves. You need very specific processes before, during, and after every movement to do each delivery, as opposed to moving people or burgers around, right? So we quickly, this guy pinged me probably 6 or 7 times. I said no. I said we're gonna build it, and
We
then
can do this.
and
We
then
don't need your help.
Yeah, exactly.
Zarif,
Yeah.
whoever you are.
And then he wanted
So
to
true.
to charge me whatever for a pilot that I refused. And then-
Money.
Exactly. It was so much. It was not priced for Mexican standards, trust me. But then we came to an agreement, and when we tried, it literally doubled our productivity overnight. From
Wow.
2 vehicles
So that
moved
was the moment we
from
were like-
driver per day to over 4 vehicles moved per driver per day. And that was just the software piece, right? Then we figured, well, these guys are for real, and we can turn, a headache into a real value-added activity. When we have been building on top, some of the things Driver has built, some of the things that we have built, like data models and ability to collect proprietary data during the vehicle movements per se, to, for example, complement an initial diagnostic of the vehicle, or to make sure that the vehicle is in the Kavak standard to be ready to be delivered for a customer, etc. And by doing that, we've been able to enable much more use cases for customers to simply allow them to push a button and get a service on demand at home. Be that an inspection, be that a maintenance pickup and drop off, be that a trade up or a trade down, because we understand customers have life events and we want to be there to help them at the push of a button to support them throughout their mobility or economic needs.
All right, same question from the other side, Zarif. What have you learned since the partnership?
Man, I've been in the car business for over 25 years, and this company was built and designed for my own personal problems when I was operating. But when I went to Mexico and saw these operations, It was eye-opening. I mean, this is probably going to date me, but there was an old school movie called Gung Ho, right? I don't know if you remember that.
remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was a game changer for that movie. Well, this was a game changer for me. I go into these facilities, they're repairing end to end over 4,000 units per month in one of many facilities. And so I immediately knew that they needed help with us. It was like a hand in glove fit. But it was nice working with them because they were able to look at the industry in a different way. Like you said, we take things for granted. We don't want to disrupt. We talk about a lot of, familiar subjects, right? And
We got all of our acronyms down. We're good to go, right?
We're all full.
But they have absolutely said, look, we're not from the car business, but we were the consumer, and we know what it feels like. And let's build a business around that. And in the meantime, with our need, we had life-changing needs or things that needed to be the impetus to change our lives. So let's better society in the process. And the way they're doing it is magical. I mean, it's amazing. And what they can scale it. They're able to provide credit to people that would never have a chance or an opportunity and their default rates are like absolutely close to zero, right?
Wow.
It's an amazing story that, we were able to partner with them, but they helped me look at the industry in a different way. And I think you're going to see that a lot of that type of stuff will be coming here. As you start seeing consolidation of dealerships, you start seeing larger repair facilities, recon centers that you're already seeing, but in a way that will become a hub and spoke. And, that's where we also feel like we'll be able to help and play here at home.
Yeah, that's a big deal. No, I love that you just said hub and spoke, because we talk about this a lot, where the dealership actually has this ability to play it already plays a central model in our culture and community. But as we build these like slightly more consolidated ecosystems that are really built to serve the customer, right? Speed of movement, right? Even just down to, can I get the car quickly to the consumer? And that's a bunch of different ways that happens, whether that be in service, whether that be in sales, whether that be in initial sales, with wherever that mapping is, it serves the customer in the end. And that hub and spoke mentality actually gives us more leverage to serve the customer better. And I love the heart behind, every once in a while, you just meet someone that just surprises you, and it's been a fun surprise getting to know you guys. So thanks so much for coming on and sharing a little bit of your story today.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Amplify podcast, brought to you by Reuters Events and ASOTU. For more engaging episodes like this, subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. You can learn more about our hosts, Paul J. Daly and Cal Mountsier, by visiting asotu.com.